Yeah, that's same as the 86 classes. They're an old electric loco that run, down south a little bit. And I think Sydney Trains might run one or two of them to do work in the tunnels. That way you haven't got fumes building up in the tunnels. So they use the track work.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
But yeah, they weren't a bad engine, but just where they could go was fairly restricted. Because, up in the Hunter Valley, we've got no overhead wires whatsoever from Broadmeadow on.
Yeah, that was the same in Victoria too. They used to run on the Traralgon and Warragul lines and a bit around the suburbs, and we used to shunt in and I think that one to the other side there, that little one, I think it's an E-class. Oh, I hated them. We used to shunt in Flinders Street with them. Just a box. It was a box, and it was hot. Like on summertime, I dreaded. I think I took a couple of sickies sometimes when I knew I was going to be on them. I hated them. They're just a terrible thing to sit on, Yeah,
if I knew I was rostered up on a couple of engines that I didn't like, I'd go sick. But the roster clerk used to say, "Well, look, I got more jobs than you've got sickies." So
yeah, I know, right? yeah. Well, when I left the railways, I was on the freights. I was driving, and then I wanted to get my rate. I was driving suburban freights and that, and then I wanted to get my engineman rate, so I went up to the rail cars and got my rate. So we all did that, and you jumped a lot of seniority that way. And then I stayed up there for 5 years. So I was up there, had a great time with one of my drivers, Percy Drummond, who I did judo with him for years. And we used to go to the rail cars because better shifts, and that way we could go and do the our judo classes at night time, because he ran his own judo club for years. And it was such a great environment. Like, we could take breaks at work between running trains. You'd have 2 hours off, so we go across the railway oval at the railway gym and do our weights and do our judo training. So it was a really good lifestyle. And then I decided to go back to the freights and went back to Mile End, then went back to Port Adelaide, and I started pro wrestling at that time. And I was starting to get my itchy feet to move on. And the rosterman said to me one day, "Andy," he goes, "if you take any more sickies, you're going back to Mile End." I went, "Yeah, okay, bye, I'm leaving." So I quit that day, mate. Yeah. I was glad. So, and it was a good life, but I have itchy feet. I've had itchy feet my whole life, and there's no athlete's powder that can stop my itchy feet, mate. They're always moving me forward,
Yeah. Hey, Shane, just wondering, what's the feeling like when you're standing in front of actual trains as they roar by you or as you work on them? Is there like a feel of intimidation, or do you enjoy it?
Yeah, look, I don't mind it. It's you just got to keep your wits about you, but it's not. I used to sort of enjoy, watching trains go past when I first joined the job or working on them. Now it's probably that point in my career where I've done, enough on them now. It's really, the buzz is gone out of, enjoying the job of what it used to be. There still is a good buzz there, though. But, yeah, it's just not what it used to be.
I see what you mean. Last weekend, I captured a train as it was roaring right past me on the railway, and there was a feeling of intimidation, but also satisfaction, and I got it on film.
Yeah, they're quite an intimidating thing when you're standing next to on a station or somewhere and watching a freight go past at speed. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, it's a lot of power, a lot of weight, moving at speed. And I get too, and I used to love driving too. I love being up in the cab, and always wanted to be on the fast trains, hated the slow ones. Like those itchy feet were like that. Like when I first joined the job, I used to go on my days off when I was at Dynon, or come into my shift. Like I was nuts, mate. Come in 8 hours early so I could go for a ride with my mate on a passenger train. up in the cab, and then I'd come back. We go to Geelong and back, and then I'd come back and start my shift. I love the speed. You know, I love being up in the powerhouse and the locos. But you're right. You just mentioned then. We'll go on to your outside interests in a minute, but you just mentioned, you know, things change a bit after a few years. So you at the moment, you're training trainee drivers, is that right?